Hi, my name's Nikki, and in this video, I'll show you the top 5 things that you can do to prepare your garden for the apocalypse. Although it seems like the world is ending, you could still beat the crowds at the grocery stores by growing your own food in your very own backyard, balcony, or wherever you live. If you follow my advice, I'll show you how to turn your garden from this into this by summertime. In this video, we'll talk about raised bed maintenance, removal of dead plants, applying soil amendment and compost, planting spring seedlings, and lastly, I'll show you how to start late summer seeds. The first thing that you want to do to prepare your garden for the apocalypse is to learn how to maintain your raised beds or containers. If you don't have a lot of space, that's totally okay. You can always grow food in many different types of containers, whatever you have. But for this video, I'll show you how to maintain a raised bed. In my garden, I like to use the square foot gardening technique. If you don't know what square foot gardening is, basically you're trying to grow the most amount of food in a small amount of space, specifically in a 12-inch by 12-inch square. If you do use this technique, or perhaps you just have some sort of raised bed, make sure that you always go back and try to maintain it. That could mean hammering in loose screws or replacing it with new wood. As you see in this video, I'm actually replacing some of the wood because I do walk on it while I garden. So just make sure that everything's updated and ready to go. In addition to replacing any old wood that may have rotted or fallen apart the year before, I do try to go back and replace the twine string that I use to separate my raised beds into square foot blocks. I personally try not to use any plastic. I always try to find materials that will naturally degrade over time. Sometimes I still find plastic in my garden that I've used in years past, and I want to try to reduce my plastic waste. With the twine, I tie each end from the top of the raised bed to the bottom of the raised bed. The grid marks that I make using the twine not only helps me to organize my garden, but it also helps me to maximize my growing space more efficiently.
What are those?
Okay, I hear some voices yelling at me from across the screen. I know I just said that I don't like to use plastic, but to be honest, I've had these Crocs since I was 15. So recycle, reduce, reuse, repeat, right? Even if they are ugly Crocs. And here's what the finished product looks like, all organized and ready to go for the spring garden. The second thing that you need to do to prepare your garden is to remove any dead plants. This might be the most painful part in spring garden preparation. I don't know about you, but I kind of get attached to my plants. So it's painful to see them go, but it must be done. As you can see in this clip, I'm pulling out some pepper plants that didn't survive the winter, and I'm also pruning back some pepper plants that need some pruning. The third step in preparing your garden for spring is to apply some fresh compost and soil amendment. You can always create your own compost. This is what our composting bin looks like. The big one on the left is a regular compost bin. The one on the right that I'm opening is a worm compost bin. Both of these are awesome techniques in making your own soil amendment. If you don't have the time to make your own compost, that's totally fine. Maybe it doesn't match up with your lifestyle. You can always buy some compost at your local nursery or home improvement store. No matter where you get it, just make sure that you buy some compost for your garden. Just like how humans need healthy and nutritious food to survive, your plants also need vitamins and nutrients as well. In this clip, my husband and I are adding some straw to our raised beds. Last but not least, we go through and we add the compost to all of our raised beds. The compost allows our vegetables to grow happy, healthy, and strong without needing any dangerous chemicals. The next thing that you need to do to prepare your garden for spring is to plant some early spring crops. On the screen, I've got some early spring crops you can plant. Depending on where you live, it's going to vary, so just make sure that you use websites like Farmer's Almanac or Burpee to try to figure out what's best for your area. In this clip, I'm transplanting some Swiss chard that I started in December. So even though you might not have a lot of plants right now, whatever you can get in the ground would be great. If you didn't have the chance to start any spring crops, don't worry, there's still plenty of time. I'm going to talk about it in the next section. If you do have some seedlings to transplant, don't forget to water them so they don't experience transplant shock. And last but not least, don't forget to start your late summer seeds now. On the screen, I have a few late summer crops that you can plant right now, but remember it really depends on where you live in the world. I know right now it might be difficult to go to the store and get any type of seed starting trays. Remember, you can start seeds in essentially anything. Soil blocking is a seed starting method in which you use a metal tool to create square solid blocks that you can start your seeds in. I love it because it doesn't restrict root growth, and it's also good for the environment. Seed starting trays that I've bought in the past have eventually degraded over time, but this one has lasted me quite a while. But I know times are tough, so whatever you have, just make the best use out of it to start your seeds. For soil blocking, this is what the end result looks like. I know I've had some of my friends tell me they actually look like brownies. Whatever method you use, just make sure you start your seeds now, so that way your late summer garden will be ready to go. And there we have it. Those are the top 5 things that you can do right now to prepare for a spring apocalyptic garden. In the comments below, please go ahead and tell me, what are you planning to grow this spring? I'm eager to hear your responses. If you like this video, please be sure to hit the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. We'll see you next time, and happy gardening!